Alright, hello YouTube. I am back with another review, this time a little shorter one. As you can see, this one only goes for Wave 9, but Cerberus asked me to review this, and I'll do so gladly. Okay, so as this one is shorter, I'll try to give a few more details on the things I would have done differently. But it's a very close game, and of course, with so much early game aggression happening, it's also always a little bit random who ends up winning, because you don't have full information on enemy roles and builds and yada yada. Sure, mid game can also be a little bit random, but in general, the longer the game goes, the less quote unquote random it is. Unless enemy is Stash or one of these fun masterminds that were introduced to fuck with high elo gameplay. Anyway, this is our role, and we are a champion, and we picked like this, I think. And as you can see, I would prefer to pick the Wanderer over the Steed. I don't love Steed with Casket. They fill a similar role. Steed with Harpy is okay-ish, but it's also not amazing. It's not great synergy with the Firelord. Sure, it makes it significantly tankier, but it also means that this unit deals a lot less damage. And it sort of means that you have to build differently with Firelord than what you're used to. So for me, I would always pick the Wanderer, especially since my role, if I pick it like this, has a significant weakness on Wave 9. And like this, I at least have a decent tank for Wave 9, for Wave 12, for all the Pierce waves in the game where I'm a little bit vulnerable at the moment. But I don't think it's like a major thing. What's most annoying is that looking at our role, and we are champion, we don't really have a great way to play the champion. What you can do is you can start Sakura and give that unit the champion. I think that's a very, very decent start. The issue is then you have to pick your role a little bit differently. Maybe not even pick the Harpy. You definitely need Cat for Wave 7. You probably can't fit the Casket. You have to do something like this. It's not horrible either, but the Firelord is sort of not great synergy with the Seedling. So I can definitely understand why you would want to start Casket with a Seedling in the spot. And I think it's probably slightly better than the Champion Sakura, but Champion Sakura is really strong. It just leaves you weak for Wave 7 and gives you very little pressure, so it's probably above average. But there are extreme cases where it's super strong, and there are also cases where it's super weak. So it's a little bit of a gamble. So what ends up happening this game is we skip on one. Given that the enemy is higher rated, it's fine to take this gamble. King up is a little bit more stable. And we're not showing the champion on one. I don't hate it. I don't think we need to show it on two either. But honestly, okay, we go double snail into the Oathbreaker, that's totally fine. But I would at the latest like just put the champion down on the casket now, just because I want to get the value from it early. And also, like, what are we saving it for, right? We don't really want to put it on I mean, we want to put it on a Firelord, but we're not gonna save it till wave 10 or whenever we put down the Firelord. Sure, you can put it on a Sky Queen, but then the defense part of it is kind of useless, so it's not so good. And also, Sky Queen is just a 200 gold unit, and Casket can at least be upgraded to 330. And it really gives you much more stability around wave 4, 5, 6, gives you the ability to shift and yada yada. So I would probably use it on wave 3 or something. Or maybe even wave 2 and just save one of the seedlings. Maybe even on wave 1. Heck, I don't care. Let them know I'm champion. I don't give a shit. Anyway, so wave 3 happens. We are adding the Harpy for fun. We don't need to add this Harpy, and I would not add it and push to 7 workers. Like, I could already have one more worker here. if I just use the champion, and in my opinion, that's worth it. It's not like us not showing the champion or quote-unquote saving it to use on a different unit really does anything for us. So I would just take the worker. Teammate goes full into the flower here, which can be a very good play. It kind of works here. And now something very strange happens, or quote-unquote strange, namely the enemy team fully grieves on wave 4 for fun. This guy leaks 77% to a brute, can happen with Fiesta. Shay gets DT king up, but Flower is kind of weak now. And now he leaks 92%. Again, I would probably not have done the king up if I was in Mr. Seto Kaiba's shoes. As you know, I don't love the giving away pressure part. But anyway, they both leak and we get a ton of gold. We built the Iron Maiden. I don't know that I love it because, again, we're worried about 5 and 6 and Iron Maiden isn't amazing there. But it covers us on 4. And with this leak happening, personally, I just know it comes down to wave 5 and wave 6. I don't have great answers in my role. We're getting a big advantage. I haven't shown my champion, so I instantly hit the reroll button. And in the reroll, we would have found Sea Dragon, which we could have placed for wave 5, which is decent on 6 as well, but we definitely would have gotten the Gate Guard. And then we can place Gate Guard with champion and maybe one Pixie or whatever. Reroll something along those lines. Don't want to super get into it because we rerolled on wave 8 or something. But this is your time to reroll. And we did not. So we had this. And now something happens that I don't really understand. Okay. So we built 2 pixies, which I don't think is super correct. I think 1 is probably enough. But what the biggest issue is that we put champion on the pixie. And I don't see why we would ever put the champion on the 100 gold unit rather than on the 230 gold unit, or even if we have champion on this Iron Maiden, on this, I don't know what this upgrade part is called, on this casket thing. Yeah, if we have it here, it's a 230 gold unit, so the champion has much more value. And this unit also benefits a lot from the champion because it's a mana unit, so the longer it lives, the more value it generates for you. And also, we sent 3 snails. I'm pretty sure one of those could have been an attack king up. And looking at his build, I don't think it's realistic that he's gonna just full leak 2. Or that he's gonna leak significantly more because we sent 1 more snail. And to prove the point that the champion should really be on this unit, let's quickly hop in game. So this is wave 5, and what I've done now is I've upgraded this casket by 1 stack, and I've given a champion, and I've just placed 1 pixie, and we're getting Mole Snail. And now, of course, since we get the Superman, the Aura Mercenary with insane stats, for fun, by the way, we can never kill the Superman who's on this lane. He's always gonna go to the king. But we can deal a lot more damage to the wave and even kill a lot more units than we did in game. In fact, we will leak 1 or 2 creeps on very low HP and the mole, and this is much better than in game. We can also test what happens if we do something like this, and then we pick the casket. Where is casket? I don't have eyes, unfortunately. It's the HD buff that is slowly hitting. Sorry. Okay, this one, Cursed Casket. Cage of Pain. Right. Cage of Pain. Champion. Yeah, shut the fuck up. And I would expect this to also do significantly better than what we did in game. Like, this might even be better than the Iron Maiden. No, I guess not. Chloropixies really have, well, okay, it's, yeah, 1 HP, 0% HP. Anyway, it's better than what happened in game by, oh, by a long shot, because we also take a lot less king damage. And it also sets up better for the next waves, right? If we build the the Iron Maiden, then we're stronger on wave 7. We can probably push quite heavily and force a wave 7, wave 8 send, whatever we want to do. We benefit more from the champion, we have better push. And if we do this build, well, Chloropixies have shit stats, but they will keep dying, generate more Mythium for us. And we're not wasting the champion on a unit that we want to die. Okay, right. So anyway, this happened. Our teammate is leaking 1 imp, which is very good for us. I mean, very good in the sense that he's doing so well and leaking so small against the send. And now we have to figure out what we want to do. And I would probably try to overbuild and go wave 8 on them. They look horrendous on wave 8. You decide to shift gold here and leak to make sure that these things die. Again, quite a significant risk, because there's a very real danger that Shay is going to resend you, and if he resends you a brute, you're leaking, I don't know, 80% or something. So I personally would not have taken such a big risk here, and I wanted to overbuild for wave 8 anyway. But we see enemy is leaking, so we have to send on wave 7. It's also not horrible to send on wave 7 into these builds, by the way. I'm not saying this is like a bad choice or whatever. I just probably prefer aiming for wave 8. And then wave 7 happens, where I want to talk about a few things. So first of all, triple brute into teal, perfect send. We leak significantly against the mole. Again, I'm pretty sure if we have a champion Iron Maiden here, we will do extremely well. In fact, I'll try to demonstrate this. Teammate leaks against the Mimic. Yeah, not much he can do. I would prefer to not send a pack leader here, because you might think that he's shifting here, but not. This is not super clear, right? He's building for 150. So you're not sure that he's shifting here. But even if he is, I mean, the only unit that he can build where pack leader is better than a Mimic is a Bunk. That's the only case. And looking at his sort of damage build, I mean, do we really expect him to have Bunk? I don't know. I mean, I would probably send Mimic, or I would just go Triple Brute Caveman style. I'm not sure if Triple Brute is better, but I think Mimic, if you average it out, it's probably slightly stronger. Because I would expect him to build more of these units, more gargoyles or whatever, or at least hope for it. I don't know. But pack leader is probably also not a significant mistake. I know a lot of people who would send a pack leader here as well, who are really good players. So maybe I'm just wrong with my Mimic addiction on wave 7, or Caveman Brute addiction. I don't know. It's pretty close. So anyway, right. Before we hop in game and see that we do much better with the champion here, probably full hold, I want to talk about something else that kind of confuses me, and I don't know exactly what's going on. Okay, so now let's look at the value. We are 480. Ah, never mind. I understand it. Never mind, never mind, never mind, never mind, never mind. I thought we shifted gold here, but we probably didn't. We just lost a significant amount of gold on wave 5. Okay, yeah, I was confused. Never mind me, I'm old. So let's... Yes, fuck off. Yeah. It's like... Okay. We got Superman again. Yeah, again, we probably can never kill Mr. Superman. Because it's Superman. Like, what can you do? Hmm. Okay, still 56%. So it's not a significant, not such a significant difference. Let's again check how this does. This might keep the Chloropixie alive and therefore do much better than I expected. No, also not. Okay. Yeah, okay. Well, not a huge difference. I thought this would be a bigger difference. Alright, my bad. Still better, and I still prefer the champion on this guy. But, yeah, anyway. Um, Probably, well, less of a difference than I thought. Okay. But yeah, this is, of course, a pretty bad trade for us as we take 66% king damage and the enemy only takes like 30. And now we are in a really rough spot as our build just sucks on wave 9. And sure, teammate has Violet, but that's his only good unit for that wave. And he's getting sent by a Fiesta guy who has a Lifesteal Oathbreaker, who can push really, really hard for wave 9. Shay is also strong on wave 9. So it's very realistic that they can target wave 9. And it's very hard for us to defend this. Now, what you do is what I, in theory, like. You do... well, no. No, you both push 3 workers, and this is just too much. Yeah, I thought for a second you didn't push, because the Drachbot always just shows like after the wave. But yeah, you're not realizing that in how much trouble you are for wave 9, unfortunately, and that you're both pushing 3 workers. Now, what you could do here, like you realize, okay, at this point, we've taken a lot of king damage. The game is a high coin flip situation. Let's just sort of go for a stupid play to try to win the game, um, which is hard push for a resend on 8. And sure, this is very risky and it's Giga all in, but again, you're at 8% king, you've already pushed workers, you're weak on wave 9. I think the only way at this point to recover the game is to full resend on wave 8. And if you look at their builds, Shay 800 value, no good units. Lobby 770 value, no good units. If you double brute their asses here, they will probably both leak 50% and just die. And if you don't want to go for that play, do not push 3 workers into the send. Push 1 or 2. Probably stick to 1 because you need to survive the wave 9 send. Then there's Creditor in the game, and there are ways to play for, say, wave 12 for the mid game. But you have to realize, especially when you take king damage a lot early on, you have to realize when is our next weak wave where they can kill us. And it's very, very often the case that it's not the next wave, but the one after. And looking at your builds, you can safely exclude wave 10, because Seto has a lot of Daphnes, you have Sky Queens, so you're not super, super worried there. Again, if they just full commit for wave 10, you might still be in trouble, but the most likely outcome is wave 9, and then you have to play assuming they will go wave 9. And also, If you expect them to go wave 9, this is your time to reroll, and I think you rerolled on wave 8, but I would also like reroll instantly here, and I would not build a steed on this wave, I would build the buckler, because we're not super worried here. We have a Iron Maiden, we have Harpies, we're fine here. It's very unlikely for them to resend, they will probably go 9, so we should just make sure we are as good as we possibly can on wave 9. And yeah, you realize that they are strong on 9 and you have to try everything to survive. You press the reroll button, you hit the gate guard, and I think you reroll into this, which is fine. Keeping the Harpy is also an option, given that it's your only pierce damage. But you already have 4, and 4 Sky Queens can get you a very long way. Probably till wave 16 you would be fine, and this game will not go very long, so it's fine to reroll the Harpy, I guess. Very important that you take the Gate Guard. It's the best 9 solution you have. But unfortunately, it's not enough. And I think you should, if you don't have the Steed but have 2 Bucklers, you might full hold against the Send with the champion on the Iron Maiden. And this is something you could afford, probably. Maybe you have to sell one of the seedlings. But yeah, I think you would do better here. You would hold and then potentially cover a slight amount. Doing the spell ups here is also a mistake, by the way, because you're at 8% and the king will never get out a spell against whatever league is coming. So you need to upgrade region or attack. Region if you think that you're probably doing well against the next stand. Attack if you think you will leak like one creep both, and then the attack can essentially one-shot the creeps. So yeah, Seto decides to build a second Violet, which is good. The Daphne is probably not what you want, and I would assume that one of them, I don't know, probably not necessarily dies. It's probably better to upgrade this guy into a Green Devil, as you expect, like Robos, Imps, whatever, to counter the Violets. And then he would also do better, and then maybe you can sort of get back into the game. But yeah, after wave 7, it's incredibly hard for you to play. So, short summary, do not try to outplay opponent by keeping champion for super long. Just use it and get value from it. It's much better than doing the hee hee haha, I'm saving it and you don't know which MM I am. The only time that's really worth it is if you have like Divine Blessing, Champion, Donkey Kong with APS Dark Mage or whatever, and you can just, doesn't matter if you're 1k below whatever the fuck the enemy has is, you will always hold in full cover. There are these fun combos in the game. Thanks, Jules, by the way, thank you. Thrilling gameplay. In these cases, it's worth to save the champion, but in such a case where you don't really have a good unit anyway, it's most of the time good to just use it on the unit, on the unit that you play your opener around. You can always reroll on one, but it's not necessarily the greatest. Okay, then here you get, this is really well done, and then you really reroll here for wave 5 and use champion on the most expensive unit. Chloropixie is just not, it's just not it. Then again, we are slightly over pushing here, but not so much. I don't think this is a big mistake. I would prefer to push less here and force wave 8, as this also avoids our weakness on wave 9, but we're probably forced to send anyway when this guy leaks on wave 6 to no send. Yeah, resending here is something I would also not have done, just because it kind of screws our teammates, so I like the save in general. We go full here, I just wish we had the champion here, and maybe one less worker, I don't know. Potentially slightly better send into Shay, but again, it's a big coin flip. It's, what can you do? Yeah, you don't have full information, so you have to flip the coin in some way. And yeah, then we have to protect wave 9 a little bit better, maybe with a resend here. And again, I would prefer not to build this seed. And I don't know if Seto used his stash. If he didn't use his stash, then shame on him. What are you saving your stash for? But maybe he used it on this wave. There's no way for me to tell. The game is too long in the past, and I don't want to check like 3 profiles to find it and see if he did use stash. So yeah, I do like that we income here. Again, minor mistakes, and use your champion. So I hope this is somewhat helpful, and I will see you in the next video.